Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Bellevue, the place where we love, grow, and serve one another, the place where we recognize and know that we are continually being lifted into a deeper, greater, fuller understanding of the truth of what we belong to. We belong to the universal presence that we call God. We belong to that infinite energy, that infinite something that is the source of all things. And here in our human form, we are here to love God, to love one another, to love more fully with every single breath. We are called to grow in our spiritual understanding through that practice of love. And we are called to serve the common good, to wake up to the truth that there is something greater than we are. And the way that we can move into the fuller expression of it is to serve others. So that's who we are. That's what we're about this morning. We are about spiritual community, music, celebration together today. So welcome into that awareness and into that love vibration that we call unity. As I said, I am Reverend Marla Mason. A pleasure and a privilege to serve as your minister. And there are other folks who are serving you this morning, who are serving that common good. First, thank you, Lori Coleman, for a beautiful meditation service this morning. So grateful to you for being willing to take that on and doing it with such grace and beauty. I'm grateful for you, Lori. Thank you. And we have our prayer chaplains are not today. It's a Q&A Sunday. And so we don't have a prayer circle after service. So we don't have any prayer chaplains in service. I do want to say that our prayer chaplains are willing to pray for you all the time. So you can submit a prayer request. Monica's going to tell you a little bit later about how to do that, and know that they are here for you in consciousness, in mind, and in prayer. We have also this morning our board host, Jean Palmatier. Thank you, Jean, for serving us in that powerful way today. Monica McDowell Elvig is holding it down this morning like she does almost every single Sunday. And you're also going to hear from her later when she gives her announcements. We have a special musical guest this morning. She's not with us in form. She lives on the East Coast, and she is with us in video form. She is not with us in manifest human form. She did check in when we were doing our little walkthrough this morning, and it was really great to hear a little bit from her. But she has sent us some really beautiful videos this morning. Her name is Leah Morris, and she's a powerhouse. So let's check it out. I invite you to just take a deep breath and allow yourself to be inspired by her music now.
Keep your heart wide open, though the waves wanna push you around. You gotta keep your heart wide open till your faith brings you back to solid ground. I'm gonna keep my heart. I'm gonna keep wide open. I'm gonna keep my heart wide open. Though these waves wanna push, though they want me around, though the waves wanna push me around, I'm gonna keep my heart. I'm gonna keep wide open. I'm gonna keep my heart wide open till my faith brings me back to solid ground. Until my faith brings me back to solid ground. We gotta keep our heart. We gotta keep wide open. We gotta keep our hearts wide open. Though these waves wanna push us around, although these waves wanna push us around, we gotta keep our heart. We gotta keep wide open till our faith brings us back to solid ground. Till our faith brings us back to solid ground. Say hi.
And so with our hearts wide open, our minds clear and focused. Our very beingness willing to awaken. We simply say yes to the conscious awareness of the power and the presence, the very love of God itself. And we say yes to the divine experience that is about to unfold for us here this morning. We say yes to the infinite presence that has called us together by divine appointment to deepen, to grow, to open our hearts in spiritual community with one another. I declare a blessing on each person in this virtual room, and I declare a blessing on this sacred time together as we go deep, as we say yes to God. And so I give thanks for it all. I call it good and I allow it to unfold perfectly and divinely and according to that which God would have us be. And so it is, and so it is.
Okay, let's just relax and close our eyes. Well,
so this is our affirmation. I am going to read it through once. And as I read it through, I invite you to just breathe and make yourself available to the power of these words. Aware that everyone I see is a part of me I do not yet know. I give free rein to the love revolution taking place in my heart. I open everything in me to loving radically, to loving others, my opponents, and myself, completely and unconditionally. And so it is. Breathe that in for a moment. And I invite you now to speak these words along with me with conviction and as though it is already done. Aware that everyone I see is a part of me I do not yet know. I give free rein to the love revolution taking place in my heart. I open everything in me to loving radically, to loving others, my opponents, and myself, completely and unconditionally. And so it is.
Love, will you guide my feet? Love, would you light my path? Love, lead the way.
Ah, love, lead the way. You know, if love is leading the way, what could possibly go sideways? Every part of me, I'm sorry, everyone I see is a part of me I do not yet know. That wisdom is from our book of the month, See No Stranger, by Valerie Kaur, K-A-U-R. I'm actually not sure that I'm pronouncing her name properly. The book is called See No Stranger, and it's a powerhouse read. She says it's about a memoir and manifesto of revolutionary love. Her mission is to lead a radical revolution of love. She's a Sikh practitioner, and she's a fascinating woman. Went to Harvard Divinity School, and is really quite aware of who she is and what is going to really make a difference in the world. Everyone I see is a part of me I do not yet know. And I'm looking at, you know, a whole bunch of people on my screen right now. And I mean, take this literally, look around your screen. Everyone that you see is a part of you you do not yet know. You have an opportunity to move more fully into a consciousness of oneness as you recognize, oh, look, there's Susan Murray. She's a part of me. There's Georgine. Hi, Georgine. It's so long since I've seen you. You're a part of me. Connie is a part of me. Every single one of you, everyone I see on my screen, and even those I do not see on my screen, we are all a part of the one life. And whatever is going through my head about you, you're a part of me. And what's really interesting about this idea is, I mean, look at it this way. The narcissist that I judge is a part of me. The joy-filled human being. I said that wrong. Boy, my words are kind of going sideways this morning. Let's just pray that away. Prayer chaplains, would you pray that away for me, please? The narcissist that I find it hard to love is a part of me. And the joy-filled, heart, expressive person that I adore is a part of me. Everyone I see is a part of me I do not yet know. And my opportunity is to get to know myself more deeply by knowing you. And what a beautiful divine idea. The anonymous person, the person I've never seen, is a part of me that I do not yet know. Those I judge are a part of me. Those I don't judge are a part of me. And one of the practices that the author of See No Stranger recommends, and we're going to talk about this in some detail, is the idea of wonder. That we can open our hearts to all of these various parts of us by stepping into an attitude of wonder. And so I might look at someone I see on the street and I might just get curious in my mind about them, begin to wonder about them. Who is this person? What is their story? What do they bring? What do they bring to life? Who loves them? What are their fears? What's happening in them? What are their joys? What are the things that bring them a sense of satisfaction and wholeness and completeness? Where are the places that they're feeling empty and afraid? I just wonder. And what Valerie Kaur says about that is it allows us to begin to realize that they are every bit as mystifying and complex as I am. Do you ever mystify yourself? Sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, where did that come from? Sometimes I'm completely mystified by something I did or said. I'm complex. I have a lot of different things. I have a big story. I have a history. I have a lot of things that I bring to the table. Emotions and experience and beliefs. I am a complex human being. And one of the things about us is we tend to, yeah, I'm complicated. It's complicated here, but yours must be simple, right? You're just a jerk, or you're just a loving person, right? And the fact is, we are all equally complex. We all have our story. We all have our history. We all bring the thing to the table that we are. And we are all a part of us that we don't yet know. There are two kind of ideas here that we can reap from this idea of being in wonder. One is, and from this idea of recognizing all as a part of me. One is that to love me, I have to love them. See, if you're a part of me, to love me, I must love you. To love you, I must love me. Do you see, we begin to move into this conscious reciprocity, and you know the law of cause and effect, right? And it's generative. It's generative. What do they call that? In physics, there's a phrase for it. It's a positive feedback cycle, right? And it grows. It's a positive feedback cycle that grows as we practice being in love with others and with ourselves, and moving that energy between the other and myself. I love me and I love them more and more deeply. And the second idea is, in order for me to love God, how many of you have ever said, I love God, I just love God, I do, I love God. But in order for me to really love God, I must love you, because we are all one. And the divinity that we call God shows up as fully and completely in you as it does in me, and as it does in all of creation. And so we talk about, in our Love, Grow, Serve model, we talk about loving God and loving ourselves. And in order to do that, we have to love all of creation. I mean, if you really love God, then you love the person that drives you crazy, or is chewing gum on the other side of the wall in your office, or is, leaving their trash on the street, or is speeding up the highway. If you really love God, you must love that person too. And you must love yourself too. Now, what are we talking about when we say love? The word love, it's kind of a tricky word, isn't it? We think it means all kinds of things, but let's get to what I believe love is. If you look it up in the dictionary, I think this is a great definition: unconditional positive regard. You've heard me say this before. This is not news. Unconditional positive regard. This is love. And you'll notice the other thing it says about love in the dictionary is it is a verb, and a verb is an action, right? So not only is it unconditional positive love, positive regard, but it is unconditional positive regard that does something. It takes action. It does something in the world. It's a verb. So that unconditional positive regard, like no matter what, I see something divine in you, that it is so blissfully easy for me to love. Ernest Holmes said, love is the self-givingness of spirit. It is creating and expressing all that we see. The self-givingness of spirit to itself. Do you see? I mean, if we're of spirit, it's self-giving to itself. Unconditional positive regard, generating all of creation. Everything I see, everything I am, and everything I see, everyone I see is a part of me I do not know yet. And so love creates. It's a doingness. It creates what? It creates more love, because God is love. See, God is within, right? So where is love? It's within. We're born to love, by love. We are born of love, by love, to be love. We are born of unconditional positive regard, by unconditional positive regard, to be unconditional positive regard. Now, don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean we welcome every single person into our lives. We have healthy boundaries, right? Are there people that it would be unhealthy for you to have in your life? Sure. See, we were also given judgment and discernment, right? And so I can love someone the soul of them, the essence of them. I can hold them in unconditional positive regard and say, and you know what, this is a clear boundary. You cannot be in my life. Both things are possible. Unconditional positive regard does not mean codependent, right? We can have a boundary. And I mean, that just makes sense, right? Because how many billions of people are there on the planet? I mean, I can't have every single one of them in my life. And there are some that it would be unhealthy for me to have them in my life. And you know what? There might be people out there who are thinking, you know what? It would be unhealthy to have Reverend Marla in my life. That could also happen, right? But that doesn't make me bad. It doesn't make me wrong. It's just setting a boundary, and boundaries are healthy. And so we can walk in the awareness of unconditional positive regard for all and be healthy at the same time, because here's what love is not. Love is not soap opera and drama. What? Love is not fear. Love is not violence. Love is not codependency. Love is not even sexuality, although through our sexuality we often express love. But that in itself is not love. It might be an expression of love in a certain relationship at a certain time. Love itself is none of those things. It is the generative, life-affirming presence that is for something and against nothing. And so we can have those boundaries because we can have people in our lives who are for something and against nothing. And I don't know about you, but you know, I know a lot of folks who are against everything and for very little, right? And that life, that non-life affirming, non-generative energy is not for me right now, right? That's all. And it doesn't make that person wrong. I can still hold them in unconditional positive regard. Just like somebody who doesn't want me in their life right now can hold me in unconditional positive regard. It doesn't make them a bad person. It doesn't make me a bad person. It just means it's not a good fit right now. What? That's all. You know, we make up drama and we make up stories about this kind of stuff that just, you know, because we're confused in our culture, right? We're confused about what healthy relationships look like, what love looks like, and that's okay. Remember, we're doing the work here in our little microcosm called Unity of Bellevue, and a whole bunch of other little microcosms are doing the work. And every time we have a greater awakening in consciousness, we are awakening the mass consciousness more and more fully, and we will be healed. I know it as well as I know my name, that there is a healing going on. To quote Jamie Lula, there's a healing going on at the level of consciousness, which is the only place that healing can really happen. So we step into the power of unconditional positive regard for everything and everyone, knowing that that's the only way I love God. That's the only way I love myself, because everyone and everything I see as a part of me, I may not know yet. And this is a revolutionary, radical idea of love, isn't it? What I'm inviting you into is the idea that nobody's bad and nobody's wrong, that everybody's complicated, and that's okay. What a beautiful notion. And remember, I said earlier, the author of See No Stranger says that this attitude toward life, this way of being, is characterized by wonder. And I want to read a couple of things that she said to you. She says on page 10, she says, wonder is our birthright. It comes easily in childhood. See, be as a little child. Jesus told us, be as a little child. It comes easily in childhood, the feeling of watching dust motes dancing in the sunlight, or climbing a tree to touch the sky, or falling asleep thinking about where the universe ends. If we are safe and nurtured enough to develop our capacity to wonder, we start to wonder about the people in our lives too, their thoughts, their experiences, their pain and joy, their wants and needs. How well do you wonder about the pain and joy, the wants and needs of those that perhaps it's a little difficult for you to love? We begin to sense that they are to themselves as vast and complex as we are ourselves, their inner world as infinite as our own. In other words, we are seeing them as our equal. Oh, you're just like me. I'm seeing you as my equal. We are gaining information about how to love them. Wonder is the wellspring for love. What I love about this idea is how it equalizes us. It makes us not the same, right? Because your story is different. Your wants and needs, your pains and fears are different from mine. But you have wants and needs, you have pains and fears, you have joys and celebrations, just like I do. And in that sense, nothing can separate us. We are at one. She goes on to say, it's easy to wonder about the internal life of the people closest to us, right? It's harder to wonder about people who seem like strangers or outsiders, or the ones that we have judgments about. But when we choose to wonder about people we don't know, when we imagine their lives and listen for their stories, we begin to expand the circle of those we see as part of us. We prepare ourselves to love beyond what evolution requires. Isn't that a beautiful idea? You know, what has worked in the past is tribalism, right? That was evolutionary. It supported our staying alive. It supported our evolution. And we are to a place in humanity, in human history, in human future, where we must start beginning to love beyond what individual evolution requires, and love in a way that is going to evolve us collectively, spiritually, evolve us in consciousness, grow us. She says the call to love beyond our own flesh and blood is ancient. It echoes down to us from the lips of indigenous leaders, spiritual teachers, social reformers through the centuries. Guru Nanak called us to see no stranger. Buddha to practice unending compassion. Abraham to open our tent to all. Jesus to love our neighbors. Muhammad to take in the orphan. Mirabai to love without limit. They all expanded the circle of who counts as one of us, and therefore who is worthy of our concern. You are worthy of my concern. I am worthy of your concern. I am commanded to love. Every major spiritual teaching says, love more. Your life will be better. See no stranger. All that you see is a part of you. Not only will your life be better, humanity will evolve. I'm going to look for a second at some of your chats and see what's going on here, because my little eyes just kind of catch a few things. Mandy says, if you want to dig into into unconditional positive regard, Rogers, right? On Becoming a Person. That's a great read, Mandy. Thank you. And Susan says, I never considered that childlike wonder is a wellspring for love. It's the place where we can nurture unconditional positive regard. Thanks for sharing, you guys. And if anybody else has something you want to add, feel free to do that. I'll check in when I see more pop up. So how do we love? And more than anything, how do we love the tough ones, right? How do we love the ones that perhaps we're not feeling like we want to be so loving toward this one or that one? Yes? Does anybody besides me have this problem? Just saying. So what she basically says here, and what I'm really coming to understand, partly through this reading, but also through, you know, my own life experience and the work that I'm doing, is that this idea of wonder, this idea of allowing ourselves to identify with others, allowing ourselves to move into relationship with the unseen world of others, and to know that it's unseen and we're making it up, right? I don't know what your fears are, even if I think I do. I don't know what your joys are, even if I think I do. What I know is that you have fears and you have joys, just like I do. And so when I enter into that state of wonder, when I enter into that state of curiosity about you, what I'm doing is I'm building a consciousness of love, because I'm creating space in my awareness. I'm creating space in my awareness for something new to make itself known. I'm building the capacity to see and know you as equal to me, as someone who is just like me, in the sense that you have these fears, you have these joys, you have these experiences, you have a story, even if I don't know what it is. And so the first thing that I can do to move into more love with you is to cultivate that spiritual practice of I wonder. And one of the things that fits so beautifully into this idea is the spiritual practice of accepting and blessing, right? The idea is that I accept this person, I bless this person. And look what you're doing here. It's a mudra, it's a position prayer. You're pulling that person into your heart. I accept you. I bless you. And here I'm pulling you into my heart and I'm seeing you in my heart. And here I'm releasing you from what Emma Curtis Hopkins calls the tyranny of my false beliefs about you. I accept you. I bless you. I pull you into my heart of love. I release you from any expectations, from any ideas of who you are or how you should show up, because I am wondering about you, because I am available to you, because I'm curious about you, because I know that you are also just like me, created in the image and likeness of the infinite. And in this image and likeness, we are one. In the mind, the manifest universe is the body of God. I might be God's little fingernail. Who knows? We are all cells in the body of God. And you know what? When cells work together, there's health. What? It's when, cells work against each other and they multiply out of control and they behave badly in the body, then there's not health. But when cells work together to energize the body, when we work together to energize the body of God, something wonderful takes place. There is an evolution in human consciousness and an evolution in human spirit that moves us forward to the next stage. And when we wonder about others, when we accept and bless everyone and everything, we are lifting our individual consciousness, but also that infinite consciousness, the consciousness of God. And you know what is really interesting to me is, we think we're so big. We really think we're something, right? But you know what? I'm one little person on one by my standards, huge planet, but our planet is itsy bitsy teeny tiny. The consciousness of God is bigger than our solar system, bigger than our galaxy, bigger than even the universe, because it is infinite. And so by its very definition, there is nothing outside of it. Omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, omnicubed, right? And so when I accept and bless, I am shifting my consciousness, but I'm also affecting the infinite consciousness. And I may be teeny tiny, but I make a difference. And there's, a whole bunch of you that are part of my spiritual community. And when we all do it together, we make a bigger difference. And when we take it out into the world and we live it, when we walk in wonder about others, when we accept and bless others, they kind of start to go, what? Maybe my life can be different too. I mean, how did you get to this teaching? I saw somebody's life change and I went, what is going on with you? And then she had to ask me a whole bunch of times before I would actually go with her, because it was a church, right? And finally, I was like, okay, if you make me, I'm going to go. And I mean, that's how we get here, right? And it was a divine appointment I kept, and I was kicking and screaming. I didn't want to keep the appointment, but I did eventually. To love, accept and bless, walk in wonder. To love. Sometimes when it's hard for me to love, here's a trick I use sometimes, because I forget what I belong to, and I forget that unconditional love is my command. And so one of the things that makes it a little easier for me sometimes is to just remember a time when I felt unconditionally loved. So I've had this experience, sitting in a room and somebody's doing their thing and being who they are, and I'm all over here in judgment. You ever done that? Like, how did you hear what they said? And it's all happening in my head, right? And I'm forgetting to be the loving consciousness for that person. And the opportunity, the practice that really works for me sometimes is to just, oh, that's right. Let me think back to a time when I felt unconditionally loved. And I have kind of a time that is mine that I anchor in a lot. And I connect with the idea of how good that felt and how much that changed me, and how much, 50 years later, I still remember that experience and how meaningful that was to me. And that anchors me in a consciousness of love. And I can begin to set aside my judgment. I can begin to set aside my sense of separation and remember, and start to get curious and move into wonder and accept and bless this person. So imagine a time that you felt unconditionally loved and how powerfully that blessed you. And begin to imagine that you are that blessing to someone else. And when it's too hard, so it just feels too hard, can't do it. This person's too darn hard to love. Can't do it. Can't be. Think back to the words of the master teacher Jesus. Of myself, I do nothing. It is the spirit within me that does the work. Of myself, I do nothing. My only job is to get out of the way, because the divinity within me already knows how to love, already knows how to walk in wonder, already knows the truth, already knows how good unconditional loving feels, already knows how evolutionary, radical, revolutionary love is. Wow, that's a sentence, right? That spirit within me already knows how to do it, how to be it. So it's feeling too hard. You know what? That's a judgment. That's a judgment of me. That's an idea in my head. Too hard. And the universe says, what? Yes, you're right. It's too hard. No, it's not too hard. I get my bloated nothingness out of the way. My false ideas, my false beliefs, my fears, my story. And I just let God do the work. I just let that infinite presence be the presence of love in me. And before I close, I'm going to take one more look at the chat. Let's see. Oh, Joe says, what a great spiritual community. Thank you, Joe. You just come on back. It's glad to have you with us. And Dorothy says, yeah, we're delighted you're joining us. Janet Pearson, thank you for the reminders, right? We already know this, right? We show up every week and we take classes and we come to the Wednesday group and we do all of this stuff to remind ourselves of what we already know. Thank you, Janet, for reminding me of that. Mandy is asking, can we bring more diversity into this community to practice this? Absolutely. Let's chit chat about it. Talk to me about what your ideas are. Thrilled to do that. In fact, that's part of my dream, actually, for this community. Susan says, try it when someone cuts you off in traffic. I accept you, I bless you. The third agreement makes no assumptions. Linking these to expressing God's love through me as me is very powerful. See, we get opportunities to practice allowing God to be more God in us all the time, don't we? All the time. And it's just because we're being called to evolve. And Mandy adds a little qualifier, like genuine, right? Genuine diversity. We really want to walk in an awareness of the inclusivity of the infinite mind and heart of God. And that's the kind of inclusivity we want to practice. Thank you, Mandy. So that's what we're talking about today. Now, she talks here about her grandfather. As I think I mentioned that the woman who wrote this book, Valerie Kaur, she's Sikh. And she talks about her grandfather as one of her teachers. And one of the things her grandfather tests her on and asks her sometimes is this question. And I'm going to ask you this question because this is where the rubber meets the road. He asks his granddaughter, what is higher than truth? And he waits for her to answer the answer that he has taught her. And the answer she gives him is living truth. What is higher than truth? Living truth. Being truth. What is higher than love? Living love. Remember, it's a verb. That unconditional positive. I've said this to you before. Reverend Michael Beckwith says the advanced metaphysical class is practice, right? So what is higher than truth? What is higher than being able to, I can teach you 5 spiritual laws real quick and you'll know what they are. Can you practice them? Can you walk in love? Can you walk in wonder? Can you walk in peace? Can you walk in joy? Can you walk in clarity and wisdom? That's the practice. And the practice is higher than truth. What a powerful idea that is. And so let's turn within as we seal this message. As we seal our awareness of the truth of love, the truth of infinite love, the awareness that everything we see is an expression of love, that we are here to love, that we are born of love, that we are created to love, that we are here to be more and more of what God would have us be. We anchor in the spiritual truth of love. And simply breathe that in, allow your heart to open. And begin right now to see yourself in the coming week walking in love. Begin to see yourself as you go about the activities of your week, as you have contact with the people, as you go about your work or caring for your family or being present to others, to begin to move into that sense of wonder. Take the sacred breath with me and begin to wonder, who is this person? What is your story? What are your fears? What are your pains? What are the joys that give your life meaning? Begin to see yourself walking in the awareness of the infinite love that God is. And you bring to mind someone else this week as you walk in love, as you practice. Who are you? What's your story? In what ways are you as interesting and complex as I am? And the answer is not important. It's the consciousness of acceptance, of equality, of awareness. And begin to feel a deep, warm sense of satisfaction and completeness from this practice of truth. And begin to see yourself enlarging, filling space, filling consciousness, filling awareness with the immensity of love. You feel your heart begin to expand and open more and more fully than it ever has before. As you give thanks for your burgeoning awareness of the practice of love, the truth of love, the beingness of love. You give thanks for your oneness with the infinite and your awareness and practice of this truth. And so I close this message with a grateful heart, knowing that we have been lifted, we have been transformed, we have been open, we have been inspired to walk the truth. I give thanks for it all and I let it be, and so it is. Amen.
I'm listening. I am listening. Spirit, speak to me. I'm listening. I am listening. Spirit, speak to me. My ears are wide open. My eyes are now open to see what I may be. I'm listening. I am listening. Spirit, speak to me. I'm listening. I am listening. In this moment of Spirit, speak through me. I can hear the voices of all my kin. I'm listening, singing. I'm listening, this tweeting and howling into the wind. My ears are wide open, and oh, the joy. My eyes are wide open, oh, the love to see and hear for you and me. Oh, I'm listening in this moment of silence. I am listening. I hear Spirit speak through me. Did you sleep well? Can I ask you a favor? Can you go and push with Jake for 5 minutes while I finish? You see I'm doing some worky stuff.
For 5 seconds?
5 minutes. You'll see how long. It's not very long.
How many seconds is 5 minutes?
Well, it's 300 seconds, but you don't have to count to 300. I'll just be in there to get you when I'm all done, okay?
So who's gonna have to count to 300?
I'll do it.
Okay.
How awesome. So I just love those videos, don't you? My name is Jean Palmatier and I'm your board host for today. This is the part of the service where we transition a little bit. We welcome new visitors. So for all you new visitors, people out there that haven't been with us before and maybe only been with us once or twice, welcome. We are just absolutely thrilled that you're here. I'm going to talk a little bit about our finances in the church here in a minute, but please know that you're not expected to contribute. We just want you to kick back, enjoy our free teachings, and get to know us a little bit. Go out to the website, click on I'm New, and we can send you a welcome package. And you know, if you do decide that Unity of Bellevue is your spiritual home, then if you do decide to do that, there's a give button on that same place. And it tells you all the different ways to do it. In a minute, Monica is going to put out some, she's our center administrator, and she's going to put a bunch of links into the chat, tells all the things that are going on here. Please feel free to join us in anything that feels right to you. And then I'd like to talk a little bit about why we give. So obviously donations help us support our vision and mission, but it's about a lot more than that. It's really about, you heard the word today a lot, practice, spiritual practice, a demonstration of the faith that we're amply provided for. Financial gifts represent our commitment, our personal commitment to waking up to a greater consciousness and to creating a thriving community. One of the things I just loved about what was said earlier is that everyone I see is a part of me. I do not know. Everyone includes you. The law of cause and effect, as you give, your life becomes more open. Keep in mind, it's not about the money, it's about the spiritual practice, the practice of oneness and acceptance that Reverend Marla talked about, the practice of belief, not fear, and the practice of circulation and flow. So I have to tell you on a personal note, this particular aspect in my life has been a challenge. I was taught to penny pinch, not spend, to continue to work. I continue to work on this every day. My very first act of giving to Unity 3 years ago was $2. So it's not about how much, it's about the practice. Don't feel like you have to be perfect at it. The point is to practice. So with that consciousness of full abundance in mind, please join me in our offering blessing today. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
And so I simply declare a blessing on these gifts and on those who give so richly and abundantly and joyfully from their hearts in support of this spiritual community. I am grateful for the divine flow that is happening in, through, and as each one of us. I am so grateful that God is good and our provision is already done. I call it good, and so it is. Amen.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Monica McDowell, and I'm doing the announcements from an undisclosed location, but it is not the balcony at Unity of Bellevue, so just take note of that. First up, though, is Susan Neidig. She has an announcement from our board. Susan.
Thank you, Monica. Good morning. I just wanted to tell you what's going on with our board. I'm here to make an announcement about the board membership So Clayton Brainerd has resigned from the board. Many of you may know this. I want to thank Clayton for his service. He brought to our board a high consciousness, a big heart, and unique skills, which he applied to the facility strategy in a way that we had never looked at our facilities before. We will miss Clayton. We already miss Clayton, but I want to send this thank you and gratitude out to Clayton for the service that he provided our center. This creates an opening on our board with a term that will end in 2023, so 2 more years. I'm making this announcement to see if there's interest in serving on the board. To find out more about the board, the job description, the code of ethics, the responsibilities of board members, it's all on our website. If you go to the website and you click on About Us, and then you look at under the Board of Trustees picture, there'll be a place where you can click to view the leadership documents, and you can look at the bylaws there, you can look at the board job description, you can look at the board member code of ethics and the board responsibilities there. So that would give you a good idea of what it means to serve on the board. For me personally, this has been a spiritual practice to be on the board, to provide leadership as an officer on the board. I think this is my 5th year on the board, and I have to say that leading with the group of people who are on the board right now has been my personal privilege and an honor. So I welcome anyone that's interested. Check out the documents for more information. Send an email. You can send an email to board@unityofbellevue.org or to info@unityofbellevue.org. And if you are interested, then we will get I think it's an application form. It's just a questionnaire to get more information about you if you're interested in the board. So I welcome any and all. Check out the documents, check out what it requires to be a board member, and just know that it will grow you spiritually to serve this center. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. If you are visiting with us for the first time, we open our hearts to you. We welcome you. We invite you to walk in radical revolutionary love with Unity of Bellevue. If you want to stay in contact with us, we ask you to go to our website, unityofbellevue.org. And at the bottom of every page is a sign-up form for our weekly e-newsletter. That's the best way to stay in touch with us right now while everything is online. And if you do that, I'll reach out to you and see if you would like a welcome packet. I'm happy to send that to you. Some things that are happening this week. First of all, Q&A Sunday, stay after service, 3-minute break once we wrap up here, and then Q&A Sunday. Tomorrow night, Sisters in Spirit at 6:30. If you are a woman or woman identified, you are welcome. All the links are in the chat or in the comments on Facebook. Also this week, Living What Matters, Wednesday at 1 p.m. That's a spiritual practice drop-in group with Reverend Marla following the Book of Soul by Mark Nepo. And Saturday, men's group meets at 8:30. All of these are free. All of these are drop-in groups, but you got to go to the Zoom link to get to them. So join us for any or all of those if they apply. And Sabrina has an announcement or two. Sabrina? Where is Sabrina? There she is. We're not hearing you yet.
I hope you can hear me now. I'm sorry. Okay, so thank you. So welcome. I wanted to let you know about our next landscaping spring clean event that is coming up in 2 weeks on the Saturday, May 15th from 1 to 4. So as you know, spring has arrived and summer is approaching fast after. That gives us a lot to do for a landscaping team. It's a great opportunity to keep distance but be together. Of course, we will provide some drinks and snacks, and we're gonna clean up together for our renters who are going to come, the pedal hats, and just be together. So I invite you for that. Also, I want to let you know that the next youth and family event is coming up. So we will have a talent show. And I know that every one of you is having a talent or a gift. So I'm expecting a lot of signups. It will be virtual, so it will be on Zoom. It's May 29th, and it's gonna be a kids version at 7 p.m. and then the adults at 7:30. And you can either participate live or send in a video if you feel more comfortable or you need a lot of space and can't do it live. You can sing, dance, jungle, magic, whatever comes to you. So you can find infos about that on our website under events. And lastly, Mother's Day is coming up next week. And last year we had a lot of videos, or it was one video with a lot of pictures and crafts. And this year I would like to do something like that too, for your mom or someone female who's important to you in your life. So if you would like to participate, send in a video or a craft or a picture to my email. I will provide that in the chat in a minute. And lastly, because a lot of you know by now, and I'm a little out of breath, and that's the reason, I am expecting my third child. So I'm bumping along. And yeah, so I will take some time off in summer, but until then, we have Unity Got Talent, Mother's Day, and a lot to do. So thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you, Sabrina. We're so excited for you. A couple of short closing announcements. First of all, spring classes. There is a membership class starting this week, Tuesday night. If you are interested in membership at Unity of Bellevue, finding out what it is, finding out what it entails, come to this free class. You're not required to sign up to be a member if you take it, but you will have the option to do that. So the link to register is in the chat. And prayer chaplains will be back next week for a virtual prayer circle. If you have any prayer requests, please send them to them at prayerchaplains@unityofbellevue.org. Have a blessed week, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Monica. Let me say one more thing. If you think you are interested in that open board position and you are not a member, get yourself in that membership class on Tuesday night, because it is a requirement for board membership. As we close, I want to invite you to join me on Wednesday for Living What Matters and to walk in love. I give thanks for the opportunity to be in spiritual community as we learn to walk in love together, and so it is. Amen. And we have one final video from Leah Morris.
My hands are strong enough, they're strong enough, and I'm good enough. My hands are strong enough to give love. I know that my arms are long enough, they're long enough, and I'm good enough. My arms are long enough to give love. I know that my heart is wide enough, it's wide enough, I'm good enough. My heart is wide enough to give love. I know that my light is bright enough, it's bright enough, I'm good enough. My light is bright enough to give love. And my heart is wide enough to give love. I know that my arms are long enough to give love. My hands are strong enough to give love. Uh-oh. What problem is it? Not a problem at all. We fix. Boom. 1, 2, 3.
3 minutes for Q&A, everybody. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, the music is not playing for some reason, so I'm going to go back to one of Leah's videos for 3 minutes. Just to hang on.